Do you have the time to listen to me whine?
In the years 1990 to 1994, there were various music artists that were popular. Some favorites at Prospect High School were
like Nirvana came around. We actually, when that album came out, I remember doing a 12-minute run and someone putting the tape in. And we were all, running to Smells Like Teen Spirit and all that, that whole album.
Van Halen, Bon Jovi, U2 was the early 90s.
Pearl Jam, Beastie Boys, Grateful Dead, Jane's Addiction. Michael Jackson's always been a classic.
There were also a lot of popular TV shows throughout America. Some favorites at Prospect were
Family Ties, The Cosby Show back then.
90210, Melrose Place, that was like back to back. It was the best night.
Friends and Seinfeld.
My So-Called Life. Degrassi Junior High, ooh, that was a good one. Real World, hello, that was the first reality show. That was huge on MTV.
The actors and actresses of these TV shows wore what was popular in America at the time. Seeing these shows on their TV at home even inspired some of the fashion around Prospect.
High school was the folding the jeans.
Baggy, everything was baggy, so it was nice. I don't know how you guys do it these days because everything's tight. The fact that we wore men's boxers and Umbros to school pretty much every day, why, I don't know, but we all did.
You had the Air Jordans.
I think the Gap was pretty bad. The Gap had just started.
Spiked hair, vibrant colors. I remember hot pink was cool back then.
Inside out sweatshirts, that was huge. Why, I don't know.
Polo shirts.
Flannels, tie-dye shirts, Birkenstocks, Doc Marten shoes.
While these fashions were popular around school, the Chicago Bulls were also gaining their popularity when they won the championship for their third year in a row.
So obviously the Bulls back then was beginning the dynasty with Jordan.
Michael Jordan retired and then came back, so that was even better. It was such a big deal when he retired.
While the Bulls were on their winning streak, Prospect wasn't the greatest at sports.
We were horrible in every sport. Football was, I believe, my 4 years there. I think we won 3 varsity football games.
Played softball all 4 years, basketball all 4 years, and then I played volleyball for 1 year.
I did track for 4 years, basketball for the first couple of years, did cross country for half a season, sophomore football.
Even though Prospect wasn't winning, in the stands, the students did not need victories to show their pride for their school.
It was nice. School spirit was really good.
I think Prospect has always been very good with the school pride. I remember the pep rallies that we had on Fridays. It's always like a pep rally at the beginning of every season. The student activities director, Mr. Goodwood, almost every single summer he would blow something up, and that was always the big excitement. Explosion. When we played against Wheeling, there'd be a wild stuff in a Wildcat that they pumped up and blew it up. But it just got excited, and there were chants. I remember when we were in class of '94, so it was 94, 94. And there were a lot of states that were very competitive between the classes. So.
It seemed like everybody had good school spirit. We always went to football games, everybody always went to basketball games. It was a big deal.
It was optional, but everyone went there. And you had your freshman class, your sophomore class, juniors and seniors, and it was just very, very school spirited.
While Prospect was cheering on their sports, America was also cheering on their nation in the Winter Olympics of 1992. During the Winter Olympics, America won 5 gold medals, 4 silver medals, and 2 bronze medals. While the nations were coming together to showcase their sports and their diversity, Prospect also embraces the differences in the students at school by becoming multicultural. There were clubs such as
They started Asian Persuasion, which was an Asian club back then, so I was kind of involved with it. I guess you just did a French club I did, which you had your culture and your eating things once in a while.
Clubs like this brought together different cultures.
We immigrated from Vietnam. I was born there, and so we came to America when I was 5 years old. And a church at Mount Prospect St. Mark's Lutheran Church sponsored our family. So since that point on, obviously we felt very welcomed by the community, and a lot of people helped in our family as we were adjusting to America. For me, I didn't feel different because I kind of grew up in that with all my friends and in this area since a child. And my friends treated me just like the gang, so I didn't really. I was probably more non-Asian. I associated more with Caucasian friends and was comfortable with that, and vice versa the same.
There were also students studying abroad for the first time in Prospect history. However, there were times that students at Prospect didn't feel culturally accepted.
One of my classmates, who I kind of grew up with since since first grade, he and a bunch of other guys.
They dressed in white.
The anniversary of the KKK. That caused a lot of problems, obviously.
We were like in the news, and reporters were coming to school, and the small, African American kids that were there, because it was a very small percentage of students, felt like that was, like an attack on them, or something racial towards them.
And all of a sudden there was sides being split. The black kids would get threatened, would be on the walls, on their lockers.
One of my best friends was black and Filipino. She happened to be in beauty school, and she was wearing her white gown, or like the jacket or whatever that you would wear to beauty school that day. And so they started attacking her and yelling at her that she was this white girl, and she wasn't friends or with anyone. She was taking sides when she was friends with the white kids. But I don't know, it stirred up a lot of animosity between both groups. I got confronted by some girl in the hallway. I was like, I'm not doing anything.
So I remember how big of an issue that was, that even the principal had to cancel part of our classes to bring the whole senior class to the auditorium and just kind of give a whole talk and to say how things were just getting out of hand, and I think people were suspended. I just remember it was just very, it was a big issue.
While students were being punished for their misbehavior, O.J. Simpson was also being punished for his crime.
O.J. Simpson, we were watching when he was driving. We were watching that. That was senior year. I remember that totally. We were at a friend's house watching that.
I remember the night when a white Bronco was on the highway. It was the night before my graduation party, so we were prepping it up. And since then, for the next 2 years, I followed that story. It was a very interesting story because it was one of those first national court cases that was on. And that summer, I couldn't find a summer job before college. So I basically sat home and watched the case every single day. And all the nuances and the house sitter, Cato, and everything with that. And then, of course, hearing the connection to Buffalo Grove High School, or Buffalo Grove, and one of my childhood friends from Buffalo Grove, he knew the guy knew the family of the Goldsteins.
Students at Prospect were being updated through the use of the internet, which became public the year before in 1993. Later that year, internet was installed to all District 214 libraries.
Because we still had keyboarding and, typed on, not typewriters, but they were, old school computers.
With the use of the internet, research was being done on AIDS throughout America. With this new way to access information, students were becoming informed on how to properly protect themselves from AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases.
Magic Johnson came out and announced that he was HIV positive, so that was pretty big.
While people across America are dying from disease, death also hits home at Prospect when Renata Smokestis dies in a car crash. There was a scholarship put in place in her memory.
She was a classmate of my older brother. He was the first recipient of the scholarship award, so that kind of resonated with me.
Over the course of these years, Prospect had its ups and downs. From the racial conflicts to the school spirit throughout campus, Prospect shows what it is like to be an American.